Descartes and Leibniz were among the greatest mathematicians in the canon of mathematics, and Spinoza was no slouch. They were deeply impressed by the possibility of proof. The mind of each human must be born with certain fundamental ideas, otherwise mathematical proof wouldn't be possible. And then they went on to say, and undoubtedly other types of recognition of things in the world would not be possible.
It was Descartes' ambition to develop a method of reasoning that could make knowledge in the physical sciences as indisputable as geometric proofs.
The long chains of simple and easy reasonings, by means of which geometers are accustomed to reach the conclusions of their most difficult demonstrations, had led me to imagine that all things that humans are capable of knowing are mutually connected in the same way, and that there is nothing so far removed from us as to be beyond our reach.
Descartes argued that the senses can perceive only the changing surfaces of things, but the mind can go deeper.
Take, for example, this piece of wax. Its color, shape, size are apparent. It is hard, cold, easily handled, and sounds when struck with the finger. But while I am speaking, let it be placed near the fire. The color changes, its shape is destroyed, its size increases, it becomes liquid, it grows hot, it can hardly be handled, and although struck, it emits no sound. Does the same wax still remain after this change? It must be admitted that it does. What then was it I knew in the piece of wax? Assuredly, it could be nothing that I observed by the senses, since all the things that fell under taste, smell, sight, touch, and hearing are changed, and yet the same wax remains. I must therefore admit that it is the mind alone which perceives it. But what is the piece of wax that can be perceived only by the mind? It is certainly the same which I see, touch, imagine, but, and this it is of moment to observe, the perception of it is neither an act of sight nor of touch, but is simply an intuition of the mind.
For Descartes and later rationalists, only ideas derived from reason can give us knowledge that we can be certain is true.
What interested them was the idea that there was a kind of knowledge that went directly from the faculty of reason to the truths involved. It bypassed experience entirely. And it was a kind of knowledge that gave you insight into necessary truths rather than contingent truths, truths that couldn't possibly be any other way. They were carved in hardest diamond, if you like, and they would never change. They wanted truths that were of a higher grade than we get from experience. Experiential truths are always contingent. They can always be refuted tomorrow, and maybe you made a mistake today. But in the realm of mathematics, in the realm of logic, there you could know truths not through any of the sense organs, but directly by reason.
And what was the conflict with the empiricists who argued that all knowledge must come from the senses?
The battle was fought over certainty and whether reason was a faculty, a truth-finding faculty all on its own. The rationalists said yes. The empiricists said, give us a break.
The first great philosopher to form a theory of innate ideas was Plato in 4th century BC Athens. For Plato, as for Descartes, geometry provided the model for indisputable knowledge.
Plato took reason as the paradigm of knowledge rather than the senses. In Greek, mathematics means what can be learned and what can be known. And his idea was that mathematical knowledge has little, if anything, to do with sensible knowledge. For example, in geometry, when in geometry we theorize about triangles, triangles are not things that can be perfectly instantiated in the sensible world. There's no exactly straight line. If I draw a triangle on the blackboard, the lines are going to be a little bit curvy, they're going to be have some kind of thickness to them. I can't draw on the blackboard something that really is a triangle. So Plato's thought is that the real triangle that mathematics is about, as opposed to the triangle on the blackboard, is a triangle that exists, as it were, known only by the mind, not by the senses.
Plato was fascinated by mathematics, and his theory of innate ideas is specifically motivated by giving a simple mathematical proof in a dialogue called the Meno. It's a beautiful piece of work in which a boy is asked to produce a square double the area of a given square. And he first of all makes mistakes, and then he hits on a proof that the square on the diagonal is twice the area. It's a very beautiful proof. When you see that proof, hey man, that's amazing, that's true, that has to be true. People who have that experience become very interested in innate ideas. They don't have to, but for 2,000 years, and I believe for the next 2,000 years, they will.